Hello everyone, Clark the Geek here, welcome back to a brand new video, and it's another Doctor Who episode review. Today, we're going to be reviewing the second episode of Series 1, the revived series, The End of the World, and we are joined by RonaparTV once again. How are you today?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm very good, now people seem to really enjoy the Rose review that we did last week.
Because it was sick, that's why.
I would have to agree with that.
Awesome. Very well. And yeah, it was a good episode. I mean, to be honest, it was just fun to celebrate the 16th
Anniversary
of New Who. Like, it's literally a year older than me. I cannot believe it, but it's a mad one,
Bad, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about The End of the World, and this will be going up on its 16th anniversary on Good Friday as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mad.
You know, Easter weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, would it have been Easter weekend back then?
Because I mean, like the new series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think series 6 and series 10 were broadcast around like March, April, so like Easter time, I think.
Yeah, but like I say, obviously Easter's a different time every year, isn't it? Because like it has to do like I think it's something to do with like the Jewish calendar or something.
I think is it like the first some I don't know how it works.
It's mad, but
I'll just go with the flow, you know. And
go with the flow, you know.
Yeah. I would like some more like some Easter specials because that'd be quite cool.
Yeah.
Because we had there was Planet of the Dead.
Yeah.
But that was it.
I remember it said like it'll return in Easter. Like, oh, I remember that. Jesus. And I think I remember Smith's Doctor. Now we're going off topic here, but Smith's Doctor. I'm pretty sure there was a promo where it's like a skeleton and it had the sonic screwdriver in the hands. And I'm pretty sure that was like this Easter.
Oh, I don't remember. I've never seen that.
Sure. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Or one of the Smith trailers, it was this Easter.
Ooh.
So, you know.
Might have been like series 5.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
Broadcast it around that time. But
Yeah. Anyway, as much as we'd love to talk about Easter and celebrate the wonderful holiday of Easter, we got a Doctor episode to review, and we got The End of the World, the second episode of the revived series, the first proper like off-world adventure.
Yeah,
the
TARDIS.
Yeah, the first time that the Time War was properly mentioned.
Yeah, you really start to see like Eccleston's development as Doctor and like his sort of PTSD, his past, and you get to meet Rose a lot more.
Yeah. You get to see how she reacts to this, and I feel like this will be quite interesting because on the Rose episode we kind of agreed on it, didn't we?
Yeah.
But on this one, I know you really love it, and I'm not as much of a fan of it. So
it's gonna be
it'll be quite interesting, won't it?
It's not gonna be a biased episode, put it like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into it. So I guess we'll just go into like categories. We'll start off with the Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, and I'll let you start with this one.
He's absolutely fantastic. We have to go with the pun, but he's honestly, you sort of get to see different sides of Eccleston at this point because you get to see his very cheeky, sarcastic, laughable side, like when he's dancing to
Tainted Love. I mean, that scene is just amazing.
It's a meme itself, isn't it?
Yeah, refreshments will now be served.
But you also get the fact of like him, like when like Rose is like getting a bit annoyed at him, like, oh, I don't even know who you are. Who are you? And he's just like,
this is me right here, right now. Yeah, that's a great moment.
He has to defend himself, and it's like it's something that the Doctor has to do quite a lot. Put it like that, and he's probably used to it. But like I say, it's part of his character arc of Time War, and he's still PTSD over that. But it's a very good opener, in my opinion.
But for it does expand on his character because like, as we said last week, I think we said something along the lines of like you see his humorous side and you see his serious side. I think that's quite expanded upon here. You see even more little quirky moments like the aforementioned, him dancing to Tainted Love. I give you air from my lungs.
Yeah, it's just banter, because a lot of times, like obviously, I think maybe Rose's perception is, oh my god, these are aliens, they're going to think I'm weird, but like the Doctor just thinks it's one big joke and just banter, really.
Yeah. But then obviously you've got the very good moments like when he's with Jade, or when he at the very end in that action scene when he's trying to get past like the fan. Yeah, and the bit that stands out for me, I think his best moment in this episode is easily the end of the episode, he's like, I'm the last of the Time Lords. And it's the first time we ever saw that. It was the first time we ever learned what the Time Lord was. First time we sort of heard, like, he was the last of the Time Lords. Yeah. And I can imagine back then, it probably would have annoyed a lot of die-hard fans. Like, it was like this big, change in the canon, which, well, we've been seeing the reactions to lately, haven't we, with the...
I mean, when you actually think about it, it's only just occurred to me that the last of the Time Lords thing, it's new, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's actually, it's bombarded me a little bit, that. But it's the fact of, obviously, like, new who you're thinking, it's just going to be the same as what they do with the old. But like I say, it's a new revival. They've revamped it as the same Alan Partridge. But, like, it's one of them things, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, we've got to bring new character and story on.
You got to change it up a bit. And I think...
make it interesting.
I mean, as much as I love classic hero, I think one of the mistakes in the later years was that the Time Lords just sort of lost their mystique. Like, when they were introduced in Patrick Troughton's era in the War Games, I've seen that recently, and it's an absolutely amazing episode. They are brilliant. They're just erasing people from time. They're like these gods. And then, over time, like, they just lost all their mystique. It was just sort of like... They were just another alien race, and it was just... this added some more mystery to it, and I think... That's something that was great that Russell did.
I mean, like you say, obviously with classic, like, they have the whole, like, question mark motif a lot. Like, obviously, is it...
Sylvester McCoy. He had a question mark jumper.
The umbrella and the jumper, and is it... forgive me if I'm wrong, but Peter Davison, hasn't he got, like, a lapel?
No, on his collar on his shirt, he has question marks.
Yeah, well, still, it's part of his, obviously, uniform, and it's part of, like, it stands out.
Yeah.
But, like, later on, in, like, say, later series, it's a bit like, I'm the Doctor, I'm a Time Lord, I'm from the planet Castabras, whatever.
Planet Castabras, he's from Gallifrey.
I'm waffling, mate. Basically, it's the fact of, like, you do get that, Doctor Who, I don't know, you just said it. You do get that banter, but it sort of does tell you a lot about the Doctor and his personality, past, present, future, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's sort of lost the touch, like you say.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, Eccleston, after rewatching it, I forgot how good he was in this episode. I just loved it.
Very
like,
good,
some of the
very
sort of the
good.
moments, some of the more out there moments that try to get a reaction, I think amazing. Honestly, amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the other side characters. So we got Rose, obviously.
Of course.
Her first trip in the TARDIS, and I like how she reacts to these situations. She's obviously, there's some really cool, like, fish out of water humour. She's like all these different aliens, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, and to be honest, even though she's genuinely been plunged into this alien new world, she still has the banter and the laugh. Like, when the Doctor goes up with Jane, she goes, back by 11,
Oh yeah, back by midnight. Yeah, that was a great line.
It's like quick-witted humour that, like, you wouldn't expect from a 19-year-old girl from London who's just been plunged into, like, God knows how many million...
Like 5 billion years in the future, yeah.
Yeah, it's mad, but that's what I love about Rose.
But I love how she, in this episode, she sort of confronts the Doctor. Like, at the beginning when they're like, when she's like, you're not serious, are you? When he's like on about going forwards in time.
Yeah.
I like that a little bit. It's sort of playful laughs. But then when she's confronting him, like, I don't even know who you are. That bit was brilliant.
It's they're very similar, aren't they? Because they're both still learning about each other. They're both still, like, getting used to each other.
Yeah.
Like, and they're very similar in the way they interact and, like see and take what's around them.
Mm-hmm. They've got this. Their, like, characters have got some similarities, haven't they?
It's the chemistry that they've got.
Oh yeah. I mean, even though I'm not a massive fan of her in Series 2, I do love her in Series 1.
Yes. And I much prefer the love story between Eccleston and Rose than Tennant and Rose. I've said that countless times.
Yeah, you did say that in the Rose review, didn't you? But,
yes.
yeah, like, Rose was great in this one. And I love how they had the mobile phone, like, connect to... that I like, that was quite a cool addition.
That gag is reoccurring, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Martha.
Donna. Do they use it much later on, or is it just Russell's?
Not really, but I mean, the fact that this is where it started, this little gag, and then it ended up in the Stolen Earth. It was a massive plot point.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, it would.
Network.
I love how, like, even little things like that Or something like the rift in Unquiet Dead, which we'll talk about next week. I don't know.
Yes.
It's like little things in Stolen Life Changes End that it all comes together. It's amazing.
It's the little nuances that you don't really notice until you actually analyse them deep and
Yeah.
properly.
I mean, Mr. Copper, he got a reference, from Voyage of the Damned.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's amazing. So then you got some other side characters. The probably most notable one is Jade, the the tree person. She's quite a cool character.
Yeah, she is definitely like, she has got that sort of love, flirtatious relationship with the Doctor. And
She's like one of those, the companion that could have been.
yes,
Kind of like.
100%. And like, she's also similar to the Doctor. Like she's the flirtatious, banter side, but she's also the serious side. Like,
Yeah.
One moment it actually like makes me a bit emotional. The fact of when they're in like the little boiler room.
Yes.
And when she touches his arm, and she goes like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because she basically obviously knows.
Yeah,
It's bringing a tear to my eye now thinking about it.
Oh man, oh.
It's awful, really.
It is quite, and that shot of the what always stands out, that shot of Eccleston's face as well.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's very. I think that's been used a lot to symbolise like when they've reused Eccleston's shots in later on.
Yeah, like in stock footage and appearances. Yeah.
It's a very emotional moment, and once again, because doesn't he have a tear in his eye in that bit as well?
I think he does, yeah. But yeah, Jade is a very likeable character, and her death seems quite tragic and quite sad.
Yeah.
I felt.
Bit funny as well, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, but you've also got some other characters like the other alien creatures, like you've got the lad that is Mox of Balhoun. He's a
mate, the big blue legend.
Yeah.
Spitting on all the girls. He's awesome. He's awesome, mate.
Yeah. You've got the first time the face of Bo appears.
I genuinely forgot.
Did you?
I genuinely did. But literally, the face of Bo, probably one of my favourite Doctor Who side characters.
He's Jack, isn't he?
Well, he is. He just is, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves Captain Jack, surely.
I mean, it's one of them things that, like, you can do so much with him, and like, because obviously he's lived for so long.
Yeah, he's a character you can bring back. I mean, people have been complaining that he's come back like in Fugitive of the Judoon. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The cameo was a bit pointless, but it was still good to see him again.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things like obviously, it's just Jack, isn't it? He's supposed to live until he turns into the face of Bo.
Yeah.
So why not just use him?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and
John Barrowman still wants to come back, so like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then but then you've got other characters like some of the other alien creatures, bit wacky, don't really do much. And then you've got the villains, which the villains are easily my least favourite part of this story.
Yeah, I think because obviously the villains are the main reason why Doctor Who is probably, apart from the Doctor himself, it's the main reason why it's such a good show. And the fact of like it was such, and like obviously they had the autons in
Rose. I mean, obviously you need to come up with some new monsters because you can't just rely on the past. But I mean,
Russell was thinking, new monster, a bitchy trampoline, as Rose described her.
Yeah.
It's just not exactly the best, is it?
Yeah, I mean, Zoe Wanamaker is not a bad actor,
No.
No, I do like her as an actor. She was good in the Harry Potter films, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah.
And I think she's in an episode of Inside Number 9 as well, which...
Oh, yes. But, literally, it's just a bit of like it's one of them characters, it's like the Slovene, they're like, it's a bit of it's a cheeky... I'm going to refer to this episode as cheeky a lot, but it's a very cheeky, tongue-in-cheek, like, she's very, cheeky, keep saying the word, like, an old Earth classic, and she plays Toxic by Britney Spears, and like...
A Tainted Love.
She says, this is called an iPod, and it's a massive jukebox.
Yeah.
Like,
but,
it's funny.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the CGI is really naff, especially when she explodes at the end. It's just...
Shocking.
It's really naff, and like... Because there's so many close-ups that you can really tell that it's not aged well.
And the veins that are like popping from it all.
Yeah, but it's just like I find her really annoying, and the fact that she came back in New Earth, an episode which I already hate personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, why haven't we seen the Sea Devils come back, or Omega in the new series at least? But we had to see the return of Cassandra. Like,
It's agree to disagree, isn't it? It's one of them things that a lot of people like, a lot of people don't. But to be honest, I think the majority of people that hate her is very strong. She is not a very good villain. That's probably the only criticism I have of End of the World.
but I feel like sometimes a villain can either make or break a story, and while it doesn't totally ruin the story, it does somewhat weaken it for me. And also, on a quick side note, the appearance of the repeated meme people. First of all, if I hadn't have rewatched this episode, I would have had no clue what they were. And second of all, what was the point of them? They just seemed a bit pointless.
No, and the appearance, like, it is a bit eerie, and the voices are a bit good, but they both look like a bit of a dressed up, like, dressing gown gorilla.
Yeah.
And like a robot at the same time. Like, it's just weird.
It's weird, yeah. Like, the villain's easily the weakest part of this story for me, and it's kind of what drags it down a lot for me. Yeah. So, general production values in this story. So, obviously, it's like the first Alien kind of thing. It's the first space adventure kind of thing. And you've obviously got the makeup of all the different alien creatures. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, I mean, you do obviously get to see the variety of the different characters, creatures, monsters, whatever you want to call them. Like, obviously, in Rose, they've just got the Autons and the CGI nesting consciousness, so it's only them two sort of villains, but whereas this...
It's more creative, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got a wide variety of different, you know, like, you've got, like, I remember seeing, like, these big bird creatures, you've got, obviously, the trees, you've got the Mox of Balhoun...
Face of Bo, the blue people who, like, work at the station...
Yeah, and they're all blue. It's like, you know, Blue Land. I'm blue. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If you had to pick a favourite, who would you pick?
It would have to be the legend himself, the Mox of Balhoun.
I would agree. I have a soft spot for him, man. He's just...
I like all the, like, dwarf characters in the team.
They're quite cool.
Banaka Falata.
I think, actually, Banaka Falata is the same guy who played Mox of Balhoun, I think.
I looked into that. I think it is, you know.
But something to knock kind of the production values, I think the CGI doesn't hold up. I mean, Cassandra's CGI looks awful. But, I mean, there are some pretty weak shots. And I get it was 2005, but there are some pretty weak shots.
Yeah, I mean, for the BBC in 2005, the CGI has definitely, like, aged. And you can definitely see that.
I mean, I understand it was, you know, it wasn't... They didn't have all the money in the world. But yeah, I mean, you can't help but notice. And also, the sets, they don't look futuristic. They apart from like the big wind turbine thing at the end, that looks quite cool. And I love the red lighting in that at the end. But the actual rooms, I don't know, like...
They do look like they could be in IKEA.
It looks like your nan's front room. It doesn't look like the end of the universe or something.
Yeah, it looks like something that the Queen wouldn't mind sitting down in. Like,
I mean, apparently Eccleston is the Queen's favourite Doctor.
Of course he is, because he's a legend, mate.
Of course. But yeah, it just feels a bit... Like, even though they didn't have like loads of money back then, like, the production values weren't as strong. I mean, look at the game station in Part of the Ways, you know, the blue lighting. That looks stunning. So, summary now, final thoughts, a score out of 10, you know, so, like, any other thoughts? So, like, this is the first episode that they use the psychic paper, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very... It's obviously, like I say, little nuances, a little, basically, set up for the future.
Yeah, little aspects, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we just had the discussion of how... What did you say about that trilogy, you believe?
Oh, yeah, because I always consider, like, End of the World, New Earth, and Gridlock to be, like, a little trilogy. Like, say, like, they did a DVD box set, and, like, they released all the new series individually. They would come in a box set, like, I'm guaranteeing you.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, actually, when you go deep analyse, it's set in the same... Actually, no. No, I was going to say, it's sort of set in chronological order.
It's kind of the same kind of canon. Like, it's very much like... Each one follows on from the last.
When I think about it, it is set in chronological order. Because obviously, everything, you know, they've colonised on other planets. So, hence the New Earth. Obviously, the sun expands, whatever. As Tennant explains at the beginning of New Earth.
Yeah.
Face of Bo and Cassandra, apart from Gridlock, are both, like, are in all three. And it's just, it's a little nuance, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little
But overall, out of 10, what would you give it?
I would give it probably a 7.
Oh, well, I thought it'd be a lot higher. Personally, I'll give it a 6, maybe a 6.5 if I'm generous. But for me, it would be the weakest of Series 1. Because I love Series 1. It's one of my favourite series. And I don't think it was a bad episode. But this one, yeah, it's solid. It's decent. There's some great moments. But it's one that I never go back to revisit. It's one that it's a bit forgettable for me, personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's fairly average. You think it's quite good, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's how you view it. I mean, the fact of, like, it's the cheeky, nostalgic side, but it's probably not the worst episode of Series 1, but equally, they have their criticisms and bad points.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's my least favourite Series 1, but by no means it is bad. I mean, that's a testament to Series 1, but I just find it fairly average. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, click the notification box so you don't miss a thing. What do you think of the end world? Do you enjoy it like Ronnie? Do you think it's kind of average like me? Do you absolutely despise it? Are you Team Ronnie or Team Dan? Let us know in the comments below.
Team Ronnie for the win, mate.
Team Dan for the win. And it's Clack of the Geek and RonaparTV signing out. And he's most likely going to say now...
To RonaparTV,
I've just accepted it, guys.